Shohei Ohtani will be in action this weekend. No rehab, no limits. As well as Yoshinobu Yamamoto. Spring training is about to get electric.
You are Locked On Dodgers, your daily Los Angeles Dodgers podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's up, everybody? I'm Harry Ruiz. That's Travis Rodgers, and it's time for Locked On Dodgers, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, now the #1 sports podcast network. On today's show, there is a major bullpen question we need to address regarding Brusdar Graterol. Dave Roberts is talking MVP-level Mookie Betts for 2026. But first, Travis, Shohei Ohtani will be in the lineup immediately in spring training action, kicking off this Saturday.
That is music to my ears, Harry. We get to see Shohei take even spring training swings are always good times.
Travis is your weekday afternoon soundtrack on 710 ESPN LA, riding from 3 to 6 on the Travis and DeMarco Show. And if you're not in SoCal or you're nowhere near a radio, the ESPN LA app makes sure you're still locked in. As for me, when I'm not calling USC football games in Spanish, this is my home base. Talking Dodgers, breaking things down, and doing it with you. If this is your first time checking out the show, welcome. You didn't stumble in by accident. And if you're an everydayer, you already know this podcast runs because of you. Watching on YouTube, please hit the like button, jump into the comments, and subscribe so you're here every single day. Listening on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your pods, a quick 5-star rating helps more Dodger fans find the show. And remember, the Locked On Dodger listener line is always open, 2793-LOCKED or 279-356-2533. You can call in and leave a voicemail anytime or just text us. All right, Showtime starts now. The wait is over. The LA Dodgers open Cactus League play this weekend, Saturday against the Los Angeles Angels in Tempe. The Anaheim Angels of Los Angeles, and Sunday against the San Diego Padres in Peoria. And this is my favorite part, what I heard Dave Roberts say on Wednesday. Shohei Ohtani is jumping right into action, according to Duck, because he's going to serve as a designated hitter in both the Dodgers' first 2 spring training games. Travis, this is the earliest he has played in spring training for the Dodgers in now his 3rd season with the boys in blue.
Yeah, this one's a little different, right? You got the WBC coming up here in very short order. We're going to be talking about those games before you know it. Obviously, Ohtani is going to be a huge part of Team Samurai, and he's getting ready for that as much as he's getting ready for the regular season for the Dodgers. So him being in the Dodger lineup, getting to face, some major league caliber pitching, or at least something, relatively close to that at this point in the calendar, is important. And I think that for the Dodgers, it serves a really healthy purpose. That he gets ready right out of the gate is good for them. We know that he'll probably slow play the pitching, but getting him live at bats against real arms as soon as possible, I think, is nothing but good news for the Dodgers. I don't know how good news it is for the rest of the world when it comes to the WBC, because if he comes in there ready to knock down walls, and he will be because he is who he is, that's probably bad news for them, but it's very good news for the Dodgers.
Yeah, the WBC component of this is very important because he will be traveling to Japan soon to start group play with Team Samurai. But let's also remember the past 2 years have been about recovery timelines for him, with elbow rehab, with shoulder surgery. So they were cautious with this ramp up. But this year, he's ready from day one. So that tells you something right there. That's going to be a treat for whoever is in Arizona over this weekend to start watching the first week. I was going over the spring training schedule of the last 2 years, and it took him approximately 1 week into spring training Cactus League action to get his first at-bats. Now he's ready starting Saturday. That is fantastic, and it tells you the Dodgers are confident in what he has and aren't playing around and being cautious with him. It's like, hey, man, you could look at this guy and he's prepared. He's ready. For example, Emmett Sheehan, he's been sick for a couple of days, so he's behind now 2-3 days on the schedule of all the other pitchers. Shohei Ohtani, we've spoken about it, and we had it as a main topic a couple of days ago. Our everydayers know it here on Locked On Dodgers. He's at 100% already. He was one of the first guys, if not the first guy, at Arizona before spring training started, getting ready, and that shows you that commitment that he has, and that is fantastic. And another guy, that's another major piece, Yoshinobu Yamamoto, he is starting one of these first 2 games as well. So, Travis, there's no excuse. Sportsnet LA has you covered to watch the games. They're also on the radio, unlike over in Anaheim, where they won't be broadcasting any single spring training game on TV. Sportsnet LA has you covered with those, so you can be stuck in front of the TV for a couple hours, 3 hours, however long it takes. But it's great that the Dodgers aren't easing these guys in quietly. They're setting the tone immediately.
I just want to congratulate you here. I don't know if I'm a bad influence on you or what, but 2 shots in the Angels in the opening segment was really well done. That is like professional level shade. Very, very well done right there. You used a word that I think kind of describes it exactly right, and that's prepared. And it applies to both Ohtani and Yamamoto, that sometimes there are guys, and, quite frankly, I think there are fewer and fewer of them as we get more and more aware of how to get ready to do these things. But guys that come in that maybe aren't fully prepared. And I think 2 things, or I should say the 2 guys that you just literally don't worry about at all in terms of preparation are Ohtani and Yamamoto. Ohtani is nothing but preparation, right? To do what he has been able to do, to be a two-way guy for as long as he has, you have to be so incredibly disciplined with your time, with your preparation, with everything you do leading up to the games. The game is probably the one point in Shohei Ohtani's life where he can relax a little bit. That we've heard about how he goes from pitchers meetings to hitters meetings to cage time to bullpen work to everything he does. And you just can't do those things if you're not incredibly disciplined and prepared in your time. Yamamoto, whether it's the javelins or the calisthenics that he's doing, like, this guy just takes such good care of his body and works so hard to get ready that I expect him to be, as healthy as possible as well. Now, you said it. This has been 2 years in a row where they've had very, very long seasons that have started in Asia early in the year and then ended late in October, early November, 2 years in a row. Now, for a handful of guys like Ohtani, like Yamamoto, like Kim, they're going to go back to Asia again. They're going to go over there and start their season very, very early for a 3rd consecutive year. So there is a little bit of, hey, let's see what happens. But if there's anybody that you could trust as far as making sure that they're doing it the right way, making sure that they don't overdo it, making sure that the ramp up is about right, it's those 2 guys, and I'm really excited to see them. And for the first time since we talked about this, so I got to be an everyday, or we talked about this the other day, that this is the first time that Ohtani is starting a season where there are no guardrails, where it's just, let's go see what it looks like. Let's go see what it looks like as a full 2-way guy from the very first day of the season, knocking on wood here a little bit that he stays healthy by the time you get there. But this is uncharted territory for the Dodgers with Ohtani. We've seen him do it before with the Angels, but this is new with LA.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And actually, I want to give a shout out. Somebody in our comments section on Tuesday's episode, which started off with the Ohtani conversation and how he's at 100%. He or she, I don't remember who it was, but they brought up that, hey, last time Ohtani was actually at 100% during the offseason was in 2023, and he ended up needing that Tommy John surgery at the end of the season before he signed with the Dodgers in 2024. And I'll say, yes, that's correct. But if you ask me, what do I prefer, a less than 100% Ohtani during the offseason heading into the regular season, or a 100% Ohtani heading into the regular season, even though the last time that happened, he ended up needing surgery, I will 100% tell you, I want him to be ready with no limitations at the start of spring training. And yes, it's a tricky beast baseball is all the time. I remember a young Clayton Kershaw, those dominant days in the early 2010s when he was healthy all of the regular season, and then the postseason started and he would struggle in the divisional round. And then when he started getting inside his 30s, he started getting that month off or month and a half off because of an injury, and then he would come back a little bit more fresh, and in the postseason he would look better. And I would think as like, well, maybe that rest that he got in the regular season because of the injury allowed him to be better in the postseason. It's just all just theories, because what has Shohei Ohtani done since arriving to the real team in Los Angeles? He has just been dominant in any facet. In any facet that he has played, he has killed it. So I'm not gonna be like, well, maybe the last time he was healthy in the offseason, he didn't finish well. I'm like, hey, I'm just going to take it as a positive for him. He's a 31-year-old player who's going to turn 32 on July 5th. It's crazy, Travis. I'm terrible with birthdays, but somehow I do remember Shohei Ohtani's birthday off the top of my head and how old he is. But it's like, hey, Shohei Ohtani healthy, fantastic. Yoshinobu Yamamoto healthy, fantastic, after not missing a single start last season. And we're blessed and lucky as Dodger fans that we can be able to turn on the TV either on Saturday or Sunday and watch both of these guys play, and Shohei both of those days. It's other teams, they ain't got much to be excited about on day one of Cactus League play. The Dodgers, they absolutely do.
Yeah, I was talking with Oral, who I'm going to see on Saturday night at Legends Attic, by the way. If anybody's interested, you can come out to Legends Attic at 5 o'clock. They're doing a Topps RIP event, and Oral's going to be there. Ghani's going to be there. It's no charge. So if you want to come out to Legends Attic in Claremont, you can do that. But I was asking him about Yamamoto, and I think that the Yamamoto offseason is even more intriguing to me than Ohtani's, because while Ohtani is Ohtani, that Yamamoto doing what he did, you just said it, he didn't miss a start all season long. He did what he did in the playoffs, where not only was he starting and throwing complete games, but he was coming out of the bullpen and pitching on 0 days rest. And I was talking with Oral about what he did in 1988, which was incredibly similar. Pitched the whole season, was pitching 9 innings a night, went into the bullpen during the postseason, was dominant in the World Series, and coming into that 89 season about kind of putting that in the rearview mirror and getting ready to go all over again, and just resetting after having such an incredible workload like that. And he was telling me that it's far more a mental switch that you have to throw than a physical one, about, okay, that's over, we got to bury it, I got to look forward. I think the analogy he used is you got to look out the windshield and not out the rearview mirrors and kind of get ready to go. And he was talking about the challenges of it, and I'm really interested to see how Yamamoto responds. He pitched a ton last year, and especially at the end in incredibly high pressure situations. We're going to throw him right back in a high pressure situation in the WBC right out of the gate. So I'm really curious to see how Yamamoto does this season, because he did all the work last year.
So once again, Travis, Legends Attic this Saturday, Oral Hershiser plus special guests, including Travis Rodgers. How much is the meet and greet for you if they want a picture, if somebody wants an autograph and take one of your college days photos? Sorry?
Big fat zero. Come on out. We'll do it. Pictures, whatever you want. And can open some baseball cards too. Who doesn't want to do that?
Hey, I just started collecting cards, football, baseball, a little bit of everything over here. So I need to fill this one. I got the Dodgers 2024 World Series in there, and I just dropped a Jordan Addison card from USC. I got to pick that one up. So I got to let everybody know now that next. Please do. Next on Locked On Dodgers, Dave Roberts says Mookie Betts could be right back in the MVP conversation this season. Is that realistic, or is Father Time starting to whisper?
Have you ever wanted to experience the NBA Finals live and in person? Well, FanDuel is giving you the chance to turn that dream into reality with their NBA sweepstakes. Here's how it works. You use your profit boost on any NBA future, and you are automatically entered for a shot to win an NBA Finals trip for 2. That's right. You get your flights, you get your tickets, you get the entire experience. So if you're already looking at the board and thinking about which team can make a deep run, this is the perfect time to lock it in. I love futures at this time of year, because you can pick a team to win the championship, you can pick a team to grab a conference title, and it adds that little extra something, that little extra excitement to each and every game down the stretch. And right now, not only can you pick up your cash, but it could also send you to the NBA Finals. So Visit FanDuel.com to get started. Use your profit boost on an NBA future and get entered for your chance to win a trip to the NBA Finals. Play your game with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA.
Thank you for making Locked On Dodgers your first listen of the day, and thank you for making Locked On the #1 sports podcast network. You already live your team every day. Now take it up a level and go ad-free. Join the Everydayer Club today and get Locked On Dodgers with no interruptions, members-only Discord access, and more, all for just $5 a month or $50 a year. Go to LockedOnDodgers.supercast.com or check the link in the show notes to learn more. MVP Mookie? Well, don't count him out. Dave Roberts made it clear this week he believes Mookie Betts can absolutely play at an MVP level once again. And Travis, most of us have that memory and have that in the back of our head that 2025 wasn't a good year. We can actually say last season was very far from Mookie Betts standards. The numbers dipped. The OPS was the lowest of his career. Even though he stayed on the field for 150 games, he never really looked like the takeover version of himself. So to hear Dave Roberts say that he trusts that Mookie will be in an MVP level this year, what is your opinion of that?
Yeah, I think that for me, and I mentioned, we talked about this on my radio show the other day, that for me, this is the most interesting story of the Dodgers offseason into the early part of their season, maybe through the first maybe 40 or 50 games of the year. And that is, what does Mookie look like offensively? I think we've finally kind of turned the page on where he's going to play. He's a shortstop. He's going to stay at shortstop. He's a good shortstop. We're done with that. So this moving back to right field to try to done, right? So I think that the question now is, why was he so not himself offensively last year? And the answer may be really simple, Harry. Think about how the season, the 2025 season started. He goes over to Japan and catches that bug, whatever it was that made him lose all. And Mookie's a really thin guy to begin with. Mookie does not have a lot of extra weight that he's carrying around. So he loses a bunch of weight and he gets off to a kind of a lousy start offensively. And he never really came out of it. Like, there were little pockets here and there where he looked like himself, but like you just said, he was not Mookie Betts offensively really all season long. There were some big hits, but there was never a point where like, oh, Mookie's back. It was always that doesn't look quite right. Maybe it's as simple as he lost this weight, struggled to put it back on, struggled to regain his strength, his quickness, his speed, all of these things in the batter's box, and he just was never able to catch up to the ground that he gave up there. I think that's the best case scenario, right? The best case scenario is there's a physical reason as to why he wasn't right offensively last year. The other part that's a little scarier is he's beginning to transition into a second phase of his career where he's just kind of a league average offensive player, which is really scary, because what makes him is that not only can he bring you elite defense, as it turns out in multiple places, but he's going to perform to an MVP level offensively. That's what makes him special. So if this is the tip, you're going over the mountain and all of a sudden he's just aging and his performance, that's a pretty dramatic drop off, and that's real scary. So as long as he comes back to somewhere approaching his regular numbers, it doesn't have to be MVP level. If it is, great. But it does. If it's something that looks like, when you look at Mookie Betts' baseball reference page, if it looks like, oh yeah, that looks like most of the rest of it, then everything's great. If he hits MVP levels, then the Dodgers are just, that's all gravy at that point. But the real scary scenario is he comes back and looks offensively like he did a year ago, and it wasn't the illness or the sickness, and it was more just the beginning of a decline. It happens to all of them eventually, but if that's what this was, that was awfully quick for Mookie, because he's such a slight guy. Any sort of dip, I think, is going to be pretty noticeable, but he's also one of the great athletes of his generation. So if he figures it out, I wouldn't be surprised either.
Yeah, and here's the thing. Mookie has lived in the MVP conversation for most of his career. Yep. 7 top 10 finishes, multiple top 5 appearances. He actually won the award in the American League in his second to last year with the Red Sox in 2018. He has built a resume that screams superstar. But the question is, can he rebound at age 33 heading into year 13 of his major league career? He's definitely already in the second half of his career, in the tail end of his career as a Major League Baseball player. And I feel confident about it, just like Dave Roberts, because last season, even though they tried to convince us that no, playing shortstop isn't hurting him, playing shortstop isn't making him struggle here and there, it 100% was. It was getting in his mind, but little by little, I remember the conversation going on this same show when we started, Travis, from should they move him back to the outfield, to them being like, he's a solid shortstop, to, hey, he ends up getting votes as a Gold Glove player at shortstop. So it's like, hey, he keeps getting better and better. The problem throughout the season, though, was his bat. Yes, he would have like little stretches here and there where he was good, but most often than not, he was struggling with the bat. Now that focus goes away from playing defensively at shortstop and now can be once again being like, okay, let's get you back to this level. That's great. And unlike other players who are going to be playing in the World Baseball Classic, Mookie Betts won't. And not because he doesn't want to play in the World Baseball Classic, but because his wife is expecting. So the Betts family is going to be growing by one very soon. So he wants to be ready to be there when the delivery happens. And if you're away in Houston playing with Team USA, it's tougher to jump on a plane instead of being in Arizona and being able to hop in a car or a private jet and being at the hospital at the exact moment whenever your wife is about to deliver a baby girl or baby boy. So congratulations to the Betts family. And I feel that this baby is going to be like that extra. Hey, you don't need extra motivation when you're part of the Dodgers, but whenever you have a kid, I'm telling you by experience, and I know these baggy eyes show it. It's like sleep is hard to come by, but you're motivated than ever just seeing those eyes, seeing that smile. Let's listen to Dave Roberts, who spoke about this situation about Mookie Betts and what he has seen from number 50 for the Boys in Blue.
Last year started off certainly different with kind of when we were in Tokyo and how he was feeling and the weight loss and all that stuff. I think he had a great off season. He's in a good headspace. The body's good. And I think for me, it's just getting back to being who he is. And I just think that last year was an outlier offensive season, and I'm not too concerned about Mookie at all.
You still think that like MVP caliber offensive player that we saw a couple of years ago is still in there for him?
Absolutely. I have no doubt about it. The way he played shortstop last year, expecting him to get better, be better offensively this year, he will be in the MVP conversation this year. But again, I think speaking for Mookie, his main goal is to help us win a championship. So I think whatever falls out from there, I think that will happen. So I just want him to focus on just being healthy, helping us win, and then whatever happens outside of that will happen.
And here's the kicker with that, too. Roberts also said in that same media availability that he's leaning towards hitting Betts third in the lineup this season against both lefties and righties. That's interesting right there because when Shohei Ohtani arrived, he was the leadoff hitter for a bit, but then Shohei took over and he's been the leadoff hitter since. And you know that every extra at-bat that he gets being at the top of the lineup is perfect for Shohei Ohtani, even though he doesn't have a guy that gets on base consistently like Mookie in front of him. But now Betts is going to lose even more at bats by hitting third. But at the same time, Travis, it's like that's for a good reason because he more than likely is going to have Kyle Tucker in front of him. And that will give him even more opportunities to be an RBI machine and being even more protected if you can in this Dodgers lineup.
Yeah, I mean, he's going to get pitches to hit. They all are, maybe with the exception of Shohei, and Shohei certainly finds a way to get pitches to hit. But yeah, it's hopefully it's physical. Hopefully it was nothing more than an illness, an ailment, whatever it is, the development of learning to play shortstop, and he can go back to full time because you heard Dave Roberts say it right there. His number one goal is to win another World Series. He is already an incredibly thin slice of major league players. He's a deadlock cinch Hall of Famer. He is a 4-time World Series champion. He's got a chance to go win his 5th World Series. I mean, you're talking a really small group of guys that have won 5 World Series, and that he's on the cusp of being able to do that, I think speaks volumes. So I don't worry about him too much. I think that if he's healthy, he's going to be good. But a slow start by Mookie Betts during the regular season would really raise some questions about whether or not he is aging at a rate that we weren't expecting, or whether he's still just trying to find his swing all over again. It's a big question.
And here's the truth too, Travis, that I think benefits him. The Dodgers don't need him to be Superman. They have somebody that has that role in this team. They needed him to be Superman in 2020 when they won that World Series in the shortened season out there in Arlington, Texas. But now they don't. They have Shohei Ohtani in that role. They even have a guy that's more expensive than Mookie Betts besides Shohei in front of him in the lineup. And I feel that not having that weight of the world in his shoulders of being like, hey, man, you need to carry this team is going to be positive for Mookie Betts, a year removed from moving permanently into the shortstop role. I feel that Mookie is going to be benefited, and I wouldn't rule out an MVP caliber season out of Mookie just yet. I actually feel confident that he's going to have a great year in 2026. He's going to beat Father Time at least for one more season.
He'd be the first.
He'd be the first. I say at least this season. I know that he's still got like 6 more years in that contract. So I don't know about the future after the CBA gets dealt and everything, but 2026 put me as somebody that is confident for that. All right, coming up on Locked On Dodgers, LA's bullpen just got a little bit more complicated. Brusdar Graterol won't be ready for opening day. So is that just precaution or a real concern? Work feels like mayhem. Deadlines piling up, inbox out of control, and that one crucial role is still empty. When the heat is on and you need the right person fast, that's a job for Indeed-sponsored jobs. With Indeed-sponsored jobs, your listing gets in front of candidates who actually match what you need. The right skills, the right experience, the right location. So you're not just crossing your fingers and hoping the perfect hire finds you. Here's something to think about. In the time it took me to say this, businesses around the world made 27 hires on Indeed, according to Indeed data. That right there is real momentum. So if you're hiring, stop spending hours searching and start spending more time interviewing candidates who truly check your boxes. Less stress, less wasted time, better results. When you need someone who can step in and steady the ship, this is a job for Indeed-sponsored jobs. And listeners of Locked On Dodgers can get a $75 sponsored job credit to give your post the extra visibility that it deserves. Just head to Indeed.com/podcast and let them know you heard about Indeed right here. That's Indeed.com/podcast. Terms and conditions apply. Need to hire? That's a job for Indeed-sponsored jobs. Don't forget to follow Locked On Dodgers, not only on YouTube, but on X, Instagram, and TikTok as well. You can find Travis on social media at Travis Rodgers on X and Instagram. Meanwhile, I'm at Harry Ruiz on X, at Harry_Ruiz on Instagram, and at Harry Ruiz_ on TikTok. Travis, can we expect some pictures, some videos with former Dodgers over the weekend from Legends Attic?
Book it. We're going to be there. Oral will be there. I have been told Eric Gagne, another Dodger Cy Young Award winner, is going to be there. Game Over Gagne will be there. And there may be a very, very large surprise guest as well. So I'm keeping my fingers crossed and keep plugged in the Locked On Dodgers because it'll show up here for sure.
Spoiler alert, it won't be me. I got to keep changing diapers over here in Vegas. All right. Is the Graterol era over? Now to the bullpen, and this one matters. Dave Roberts confirmed that Brusdar Graterol would not be ready for opening day. The last time we saw him pitch was in that World Series game-clinching 5 in 2024 at Yankee Stadium. So after shoulder labrum surgery in late 2024, he missed all of last season. The buildup this spring has been deliberately slow. Early bullpen sessions showed diminished velocity. It's improved, but not at peak form yet. And Travis, we waited all year long in 2025 to see him back in action. And it was like, okay, he's getting close. No, he's getting close. He's getting close. No, he didn't pitch all year long. And now these shoulders injuries are tricky. You don't want to rush power arms, especially someone like him who is the most casual 100-mile-per-hour pitch guy in the big leagues, that it just seems like he's just throwing a softball over to home plate and it's like 102. And it's like, whoa, where did that come from? So the real question here is, like, in the bigger picture situation, is Graterol actually, can we trust him to be a part of this bullpen, or is it going to be the same story as last year?
I'm trying to figure out a way to say this that doesn't sound dismissive and cold. I don't count on him at all. You know what I mean? And it's nothing personal. Like you said, I've never seen anyone throw 100 miles an hour and look like they're just playing catch. It's just crazy how the ball comes out of his hand. But when you haven't pitched in a whole year, and then the beginning of the next year, you're still, trying to ramp back up, at some point, it's just one of these, let me know when you're ready, but I'm not going to count on you anymore. The Dodgers have a lot of options. I think this was probably at least partially responsible for why they went back and re-signed Evan Phillips, to have a little bit of a cushion in the event that Graterol isn't ready. But when you go over the better part of a year, and by the way, Graterol, his entire career has been off and on the injured list. So this is nothing new. I hope he gets healthy, but I'd be lying, Harry, if I told you I thought, oh no, when he shows up, he shows up. If he's ready, that's great. And I'll certainly take it because he's a useful player. But I have long given up the hey, I hope Graterol's coming back. He just hasn't been ready for such a long time. I think you have to plan like he's never coming back. And if he does, it's a win.
Since the Dodgers got eliminated by the Diamondbacks in 2023, Brusdar Graterol has had a grand total of 10 appearances for the Dodgers. 7 in regular season in 2024, 3 in the postseason that same year. We didn't see him in 2025. So believe me, I'm a Dodger fan that absolutely loves seeing Graterol up there on the mound. They said that he came in a better weight for the offseason this year. He's out there in spring training with guys like Edwin Diaz, like Blake Trinan, and putting in the work. But just hearing Dave Roberts yesterday say, oh yeah, he's missing opening day. It's like, well, where's the improvement? Where's him getting better? Where is him being able to be something better than, and once again, I'm saying I'm a huge fan of his, but where is he being something better than damaged goods for the boys in blue? They got him for an extra year with his arbitration eligibility running out, and be like, okay, let's give him another opportunity. But what is it worth having him in the IL or on spring training when, okay, maybe it's a chance to give somebody else an opportunity, like Ben Kasparius, like Enriquez, you could probably see similarities between him and Graterol, Kyle Hurt, Will Klein. It's like there's other guys out there that, okay, maybe Graterol, he isn't ready to go back out there on the mound. There's a point where it's like, okay, do we need a roster spot for him?
He's been more of an idea than he has been an effective guy that you could use over and over again. The velocity is incredibly appealing and something that you're constantly trying to find a way to use. But the fact of the matter is, since they acquired him, he really has not been available for long stretches of time. And when he has been available, it's been a little bit of a mixed bag when it comes to results. This isn't Blake Trinan, who also has had trouble staying healthy. But when Blake Trinan is right and healthy, no one hits him, right? He's just an incredibly effective pitcher. It's just that he has trouble staying healthy. Even when Graterol is available, he gets hit. I think it's more of an idea of, because he throws 100 as easy as he does, there has to be a way to use him. But I've kind of moved on to other. I hope I'm wrong. I hope he comes back. I hope he throws 100. I hope he gets everybody out. That would be great. But I think that the days of, well, when is Graterol come? I'm done asking the question. If he comes back, great. But I'm moving forward.
Yeah, it's not that we want to write him off, but it's a topic to talk about today because it's reality. Velocity matters a lot for him. His entire profile practically depends on overpowering stuff right here. So if that fastball isn't elite, he's already hittable. He would become even more hittable. So the Dodgers are betting on patience now to have him available later in the system. But the question is, will he even look like the old Graterol when that time comes?
Yeah. Who knows, right? Like at this point, it's like, I don't know. There are plenty of other options, and they're going to move. this is not if we don't have him, we're cooked. It's not that. They've got lots and lots of other guys that they can throw out there. I hope it works out, but I'm at this point, it'll be found money as opposed to something you're waiting for.
Yeah, you listening to us, let us know either on the comments on YouTube or on social media. Do you trust that Brusdar Graterol can come back better than ever when he returns for the boys in blue? All right, that'll do it for today's pod. Thank you for making Locked On Dodgers your first listen of the day, and thank you for making Locked On the #1 sports podcast network. We'll be back on Monday to talk everything regarding the Dodgers making their Cactus League debut against the Angels and Padres this weekend, so don't miss out. If you never miss an episode, the Everydayer Club is built for you. Get Locked On Dodgers at free, plus members-only Discord access and more. Head to lockedondodgers.supercast.com to join the club. And Travis, one more time, Saturday, Legends Attic is a can't-miss event.
Legends Attic in Claremont, 5 o'clock, a Topps Rip event. There's going to be baseball cards. There's going to be oral, and I can't wait to see it. And if you want to come on out. No charge, all set.
Go check that event out if you're in Southern California. All right. For those of you checking us out on video, we send you to the first ever 24/7 National Locked On Podcast Network YouTube channel. On audio, make sure you make your second listen Locked On MLB. We appreciate you riding with us. Until next time, keep it real, keep it Dodger Blue.